doing modifications. They're taking the money and they're putting it on the back. Now, even the people who don't do that have equity in their properties. They're going to call me and my real estate brokerage in Bloomfield, CC360, located on Broad Street in Bloomfield. Quick ad. But they're going to say, I am a year behind on my property. What can I do? And I'm going to say, I'll list your property and I'll put $30,000 in your pocket. They can still sell retail, right? There's not going to be these short sale opportunities because, number one, we didn't give 100% financing like we did in 2008, 2009. We didn't over leverage it. We didn't give mortgages to people who didn't deserve them, right? And we've had such a run in the equity on the value of these properties that there's plenty of cushion in there that even if they're a year behind, even if they're 2 years behind, I can still sell their house and put money in their pocket. So I don't see a foreclosure boom happening again, as much as I would love that to happen. Now, there are foreclosures out there, and I believe Chuck is going to be talking about locating those. There always has been and always will be distressed homeowners, okay? Don't get me wrong. There are distressed homeowners. These guys are going to help you find them, and there's always great to target those. However, I do not, and I hope I'm not contradicting everything these guys are about to say. You're not. You're good. So they're going to slide number one. Foreclosure boom comes.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, so there is going to be opportunities to find distressed homeowners and locate them. So there absolutely is the opportunity. And a real quick pitch, the New Jersey Real Estate Investment Club is the place to come find what strategy is next. Because if you hear it on TV or you hear it on a video, it's too late, all right? You're already behind. It is real investors who are doing real deals in rooms like this that where you're going to learn how to make the next deal. I started this club in 2004. This young man up here, Charles Cohout, got his start at this meeting, at this club. He started his real estate investing career after coming up and giving me a hug after a meeting and saying, I'm your new best friend. And he took me out to eat and picked my brain. And then he built his company from coming and learning at my meetings. We've got many success cases. Joe Lawrence got to start this club. There are plenty of people who are now millionaires, successful real estate investors who started in these meetings just here like this. So you're in good hands. Now, before I start, let me just tell you that this topic is something I'm excited about. We are in a cycle. Real estate's always a cycle. It used to be that it was easy to find deals and hard to find capital. Right now, it's easy to find capital and hard to find deals. That will shift back the other way, and it could shift it the other way again. That's the way the cycle works. God damn.
You're sure you're not presenting Chris?
Wait.
You look young, dude.
Yeah, I look nerdy. What's with the glasses? That's before I had LASIK surgery.
Okay.
Tom Sieva. Kid Tom Sieva.
I was fat back then too, huh? Fat with glasses.
All right. Anyway, Farhan, Joe Lawrence, Matt Marinoff, Ryan Mann. Yeah, there's Nick. So if I could take one piece of knowledge and impart it to you today, it would be how for you to find deals. And if you are a new investor going, I can't find any deals, real estate's bullshit, there's no way to make money. You're right about the first part. You are in a particular period of time where it is super hard to find deals. Do not give up. Do not be discouraged. You are in one little part of the cycle, and right now, we are all having trouble finding deals. The best real estate investors in the game are having trouble finding deals. When these guys are here to share how they're finding deals, you really should pay attention, and it's a really exciting topic. And with that, I want to hand it over to my good friend, Charles Cohout, and his team. This is AJ and Mike. And take it away, Chuck.
Thank you. All right, really quick, I want to introduce the team. Mike, Pete, AJ and Mike.
Hey, Mike. All right.
All right, done. So.
All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. First and foremost,
First and foremost, I just want to again thank Chris for giving us the opportunity to speak with you. My team tries to make it here every month to pick up whatever the guest speaker is putting down, and we're just privileged to have the opportunity to give back. So thanks. Next. So what are we talking about? How to source deals in this difficult market, right? Before we get into that though, a few fun facts about me. My name is Mike, again. I enjoy long walks on the beach. So my favorite color is blue. More importantly though, I don't look for deals. AJ doesn't look for deals. Chuck doesn't look for deals. We don't. Mainly because we don't have to. And tonight we're going to show you why. Real quick. Sorry. Truth is, it's not impossible to find deals in this market today. It's just difficult. Whether you're trading your time for money or you're trading your time to find these leads, you're trading something. Can we agree on that? Yeah. Yes. So what if I told you that you didn't have to trade your time, you didn't have to trade your money, you could have all these deals and all these leads hand delivered to you on your doorstep, and you could focus on whatever it is you want to focus on. If you're Chuck, that looks something like taking a nice relaxing midday boat bath. These savings on your application, probably. But not to be too salesy, if I am, feel free to put me off stage, tell me that I'm not doing that thing. Feel free to tell me I'm ugly and I stink. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So I won't go too deep into these, but this is, what is this?
It's a house, is what it is.
He's learning. This is a property that we have that we actually came into our pipeline earlier this month in Edgewater, New Jersey. 3-bedroom, 1 bath. It was worth $700K. Asking price was $450, and we got it under contract for $425, so we shaved $25 off the top. Next, another property in Edgewater we acquired. 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Asking was $450. We had cost of $100 or $700. These aren't important. What is important is that, AJ, did you spend time farming this week?
No, I did not.
You think Chuck did? No, Chuck was taking a nice relaxing boat bath. That's what he was doing. That is to say that we have developed a program and a system where we build passive deal flow and we can focus on whatever it is we want to do while these deals come to our, come onto our plate. And we want to give you the news of that program today. So, in case you're blind or you can't read or you're wondering what we're wearing today, this is a program that we've mocked up. This is our cold calling and coaching community, or as we affectionately come to know it, C4. Essentially what we do is we work with people who are new to the game or realtors who are just trying to find the next deal. We give them, a lot of people who are working 9 to 5s who are, can you hear me back there? Okay. A lot of people who want to get into real estate, working 9 to 5s, working 2 jobs, workaholics, single mothers, they just need an in, So we give them that and we open the door for them and we give them the opportunity to, get into real estate properly. Our cold calling and coaching community, C4, gives these people all the tools, tutelage, and knowledge they need in order to start calling P4 closures properly. Again, most of the people who reach out to me are single mothers, starving artists, people who just want in. So we do that for them. We give them the in. We give them all the, I like to tell people all the time when I get on the phone with them, this is real estate, it's not really rocket science, this is more of a numbers game than anything else. So as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you get on the phone with someone and you know the information you should extract when you're talking to a distressed seller, at the end of the day, we're in the business of real estate, but first and foremost, we're in the business of people. And when you're getting on the phone with a distressed seller, that person is going through a really tough time in their life, and you have to know how to build rapport with them and appeal to that human side so you can extract that information and get a sense of the deal that you're working. So with that I actually want to pass this off to. Oh, actually, so this is some of the resources that we offer to the students in our program. NJ list tenants, we pull leads from NJ list tenants. We then skip trace those leads and then funnel them into the auto battle. We're big on convenience. You know, our students make our life a hell of a lot easier by getting these deals onto our plate. So we like to make their lives easier too. You know, our program is built around the assumption that most of these people are working in 2 jobs and have 2 to 3 hours to call a day. So our program is literally so streamlined, and all you gotta do is open your laptop, press a button, and start calling every day. You know, and if you can commit 1 or 2 hours to call every day and call 50 people, you're gonna find a deal. You're gonna find a lead. And if you bring it to us and our team, or whatever team you're working with, you're gonna close it. You know, we're big on the community part of our program because a lot of people start this, they do it themselves, they fizzle out because you can't. There's no way you can do this by yourself. You know, there's no way. You're only as strong as your team, and I mean, I can't explain half the stuff that's on the slide. That's what agents for. So, with that, I actually want to hand this off to Chuck. These are some of the students that we have in our program. This is our Creative Real Estate Club. The QR code isn't working right now, but afterward we'll have a QR code that we can pass out. With that, I want to end this off to Chuck, and Chuck's going to explain a bit more about our company and what we have to offer. A lot of the things that we have in our company right now going on, and we see it up.
Yay. Really quick, everybody take out your phone and point it at the screen. Let's see if it works. It's actually a private real estate group of about 2,000 people in New Jersey. You think you might want to be a member? Is anybody getting it to work? It worked? Cool. Now join. Good man. So what I'm going to take you guys through right now is just some different things that we've done in the past and what we're doing now to attract the pre-screen sellers. We're all cool with that? That's why we're here. We want to find more properties. Okay. Before I get into that, let's just go back and acknowledge what happened this week. We got that under contract at 4 1/4 and it's worth 7. And that under contract this week at 4 1/4 and it's worth 7. How many deals we get under contract this week, AJ?
At least 3. It's probably
Is the other one a 6-figure deal too?
It's a smaller assignment, to be honest, but these are huge.
Right. All right, so partial credit.
Partial credit.
Anybody else get 2 6-figure deals under contract this week? Dude, that makes you the authority in the room.
I guess that's why I'm speaking.
Okay, good. Pretty cool stuff. I'm gonna take you guys through it. Got more students than we really know what to do with, but we actually fire them if they don't produce. So if you have all the leads and the phone scripts and everything else, and you're not putting the time in, or you get scared to go out and actually meet with people, and you don't tell us, we will stop taking your money and kick you off our team. No more leads for you. I'm going to give you a quick overview of our company. It does many things, and then we're just going to get into it. It is a conglomerate. It is a massive pile of companies all loaded up together. That's actually driven predominantly online now, right? Through social media, we draw attention. It goes through several different websites. We've actually set a goal by December across all platforms of having 1 million followers.
Actually, Chuck, if you want to go back to that last
Yeah.
slide. One before that. So right there in the corner is another QR code. It's going to be on every single slide. So at any point in time, if you guys want to scan that, that will bring you to one of our calendar links where you can schedule a consultation and speak to one of us at any point in time.
Cool. No more chances to join a creative real estate club. All right. Conglomerate. Basically like one of those OnlyFans girls. We're on the internet drawing attention. Has anybody seen any of my videos?
Yes.
Who's seen them? Show of hands. Seriously. I am an asshole. Okay? But I say things publicly out loud that would cause me to lose my job if I had one. Amazingly enough, most rich men also seem to share the same viewpoint as I do. I'm following right now, what are we at, Josh? Are we at 50,000? 57, something like that. We're counting, it keeps growing. It's predominantly men. It's 96% male who agree with me. Men also tend to invest more. I'm gonna keep my opinion because it's working. So far, we've actually bought 3 houses this year, all stupid TikTok videos, and raised a total of $750,000, and we just put $2 million, a little shy of $2 million in our hedge fund in 3 weeks from stupid TikTok videos, Joe. Yeah, making people laugh works sometimes. That sounds going. We get 4 basic types of leads that come into our system, and again, this is a broad overview. People who want to sell their house, go through Salvation Homebuyers, which is the company I started shortly after I met Chris in 2004. When I shook his hand, gave him a hug, told him I was his new best friend. I actually introduced myself as a visionary, because I wasn't really sure what the hell my job title was. November will be 19 years later, and over 1,000 deals. I think we're doing okay. And even in my worst day, I still work for myself. There have been some low ones. We've got to buy an old company. We want to add another 30 units to our rental portfolio by the end of the year. We have a brokerage. Where is Linton? There he is, and Chad. Any realtors in the room looking for a better deal?
Me. Oh, wait, I'm already with Lisa.
You're going to have to fight that out with them later. So we have the ability to list all of our properties in-house, blow them out, short them, and then just as a pet project, because we couldn't leave the house in 2020, we started a cryptocurrency market-making hedge fund. Anybody even know what the hell that means? Let me give you my dumbass explanation right now. Okay? And then I really can't tell you guys anymore without having a pre-existing relationship with you and knowing most of you are sophisticated and accredited. Cryptocurrency would be a deregulated asset. We all agree on that? Yeah. So if Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or Chase Manhattan had your money in some kind of trading account, you couldn't use it to buy Bitcoin, and they couldn't use their money to buy Bitcoin either. Because it's against some kind of securities exchange law. So I don't fully claim to understand, I just know it's on the books. So we rounded up a small team of people, not the least of which is the son of the cyber architect of Venmo, who really just wants to prove himself to his dad. And we put together a hedge fund where we now fund transactions for ING Bank online for anybody who wants to buy cryptocurrency. They borrow the money from us, buy it at a slightly lower price, and put it back into their portfolio in a split second. We did a 94.6% return in 2020. We launched it 5 weeks ago. It's been live after 3 and funded. And this is the 4th week we are in the top 1% of hedge funds in the nation. Oh, I'm sorry. World. I want my jet back. And
Jet.
yeah, I gotta raise another 4.2 for that by September, and I'll draw a salary of another $780,000 a year. So it's not too bad, right? Anyway, it's evolved from my original business plan. Which, no bullshit, this was actually my business plan in 2004 when I quit my job. Buy a house cheap, sell a house for more. I knew what I wanted to do, which was buy distressed properties. Is anybody here involved in that business? Show of hands. They're tired, like you care. Like really tired, that's fucking kidding, bro. Pulling out your chair. How you do anything is how you do anything. Just tell me, a guy like this probably has like 2 houses. A guy like this is me. Think about it. What I wanted to do was start flipping properties, and I actually had to rename it. Came the name of the course later, but buying and selling distressed properties. What does a distressed property look like to you? Somebody yell something out. What's it look like?
Not like that.
Quarter windows, right? So this is a property that I bought probably my 2nd or 3rd year of business. What color is that door?
Red. Wrong color.
No. It's actually Mets orange. I got that one from a guy who called me out of the newspaper. Told me he used to pitch for the Mets. Only now he's got an injury and he's got a grievance with Major League Baseball. It's a little local house, you can find it. And they're not paying him. And he can't afford to make payments on the house that he bought for his girlfriend. He's about to default. I'm sitting there thinking, this guy's a baller, I give all my girlfriends cars, she's giving them houses, I can run from this guy. So he tells me again, yeah, I can't make the payments on my girlfriend's house. And I don't want my wife to find out. Distress?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so distress is not always worried about windows. This distress will transcend any kind of racial, ethnic, socioeconomic background. You see millionaires in distress. One of my favorite ways to personally find property is to find divorces coupled with business bankruptcies. These people are losing some assets. Trust me. So, initially in the beginning, I started doing a different variation of what AJ is going to teach you guys how to do right here, right now, tonight. But I didn't have the dialer or the internet or a Nokia. I got a list pens list and I immediately started going around putting notes on people's doors. Anybody trying to do this?
I've sent out mailers.
Don't like you. Seriously, notes on front doors, right? Especially once you learn a little bit about them, try this one, right? And I'm guaranteed you're gonna get a call immediately from a really curious guy or a really jealous wife or girlfriend. Right? Now, did I say anything about the house?
No.
No, right? I didn't write this note out. I wrote it out once and I've been photocopying it for the last 6 years. Writing doesn't even work for me anymore. But once they've reached out to me, or, I mean, in this particular case, should I show them? You guys want a neat little trick?
Yeah.
Sure.
Once they've reached out to me or my virtual assistant that answers all my phone calls,
Next available representative is Precision Bank for your transmission now.
mind you, if you wait through this shit,
Thank you for calling Sell Your House today. Are you interested in buying, selling, or renting a home, or are you an agent?
I really want to sell my home.
Great. If you have a moment, I'm just going to collect a little bit of information from you, and then one of our training associates will call you and discuss your options.
Wonderful.
May I get your name? May I get your name, please?
Sure, my first name is Chuck.
And your last name, please?
Daddy.
Daddy, D-A-D-D-Y?
I know, right? I got lucky with that one. Yeah, my best friend for your number.
Thank you, Mr. Daddy. And what's the best phone number to reach you?
201 218 8835.
Thank you. That was 201-218-8835.
That's my number. You got it.
May I have your email address, please?
You know what? I'm really bad at checking my emails, so I just sent them all to my assistant Jessica, and I can never remember her email, so is it okay if we just skip that for now?
Sure. Oh, of course, of course. And Miss Daddy, what do you think your house will price for?
Oh my God, a lot of money, a tremendous amount of money, at least $500,000.
At least $500,000. Great. And what are you asking for the house?
Oh my God, a lot of money, at least $500,000.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And how much do you own the house, Mr. Daddy?
Well, I can tell you I don't own anything on the house, but if I did that, I'd be lying. I owe about $500,000.
Okay, perfect. And did you receive one of our letters, or how did you hear about us?
Somebody stuck a note on my door, then I got a letter in the mail, then I was driving around town and I saw a billboard, then I saw one of your cars, then somebody called me and It was like 7 times altogether. That's my lucky number. I just figured you're the ones.
Okay, great, perfect, thank you so much. And may I have the property address?
Yeah, it is 955 Valley Road in Clifton.
Goodsons, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect, thank you, Mr. Teddy. And when do you want to move?
Probably Monday. We're gonna have a party here on the weekend if you want to come. No, really, it's BYOB. We don't have a lot of girls coming, so if you want to come, I mean, you have my number.
Well, New Jersey is a long way for me, I have to say. And our payments current or behind?
Again, I could tell you they're current, but I'd be lying to you there too. They're pretty far behind.
Okay, great. And does the house need any repairs?
Not currently, but I mean, I'm moving out. I owe more on it than it's worth, and I'm gonna have a raging party this weekend with a bunch of my friends. That's why I invited you. We don't have a lot of girls coming.
Well, I live in Texas, so New Jersey is really a long way for me.
I mean, it's 2 days. You can get there on time.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Daddy. Thank you for providing that information. And is there anything else you'd like me to note on the message before the associate returns your call?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say, just anybody else that calls me back, have them refer to me as Mr. Daddy too. I kind of like that.
Okay, sounds great.
And what was your name?
Well, thank you. My name is Susie.
Nice to meet you, Susie. If you change your mind about the party, I got my number. I gotta start running game now.
Let's give Susie a round of applause for doing this work.
Thanks. Thank you. I haven't showed anybody that in like 5 or 6 years. That's pretty cool, right? So that's, if you guys want to write this down, like give you a little cheat code, there's a company called PAT, P-A-T, Live, L-I-V-E. I've only been using them consecutively since November of 2004 when I met Chris. So it's like only about 18 years. That phone message with all the information Susie surgically extracted is then typed up and emailed to everybody on my team. Mr. Daddy's me, just so we don't fuck it up. All right, you guys like that? That's pretty cool. I set up a discount with them like 10 years ago. If you try my name and you call them, they'll waive the sign-up fee because it sucks when you start off and spend a lot of money on shit. So you're welcome. So what do you guys say? Thanks, Chuck. All right, so welcome. All right. Still having fun? Can I keep looking? Maybe my phone is remote, AJ.
Sorry,
There we go. Right. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna keep going. Other basic advertising. Anybody ever try putting ads in newspapers? Show of hands. Nobody? Honestly, if you're gonna do a big color thing like this, it gets really expensive really quick. The best thing I can tell you to do would be a simple 3 or 5 line ad. nameofyourcompany.com, we buy houses, phone number to call, 2 points of contact. If you want to spend more money, I would buy a blank line on the top and the bottom. For some reason, your eyes go right to the ad, you will get more calls. If you look in your local paper, there are people who have ads that say, we buy houses. Even if they're not me, they kind of come back to me. Go ahead, give me a try. If you want to talk to me, that's where you find me. Plus, if you put an ad in the newspaper nowadays, it automatically goes onto the internet. Websites. Anybody got a website for buying houses? Should have gone. You're up there, just build us a new one. Another thing we've done that worked incredibly well over the years is bandit signs. Has anybody tried a bandit sign campaign? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Who else? Bandit signs?
We gotta try more things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to experiment. You know why they call them bandit signs? Does anybody want to take a guess?
Put them up at night.
Yeah, they're illegal, typically, right? So what we've learned to do is we've created a device. This is a 6-foot steel rod with a staple hammer and 2 metal crossbars on it that we call the whacker, right? You put one of the signs in the thing, and that will allow you to put it just high enough that it is out of reach of the local DPW and law enforcement. It lasts a lot longer this way. And even if you don't get any calls, right, I'm serious, you put them up Friday night, you put them up that night, they'll be up for months. You put them up at a normal night, they'll be up for Monday to come down. But even if you never get a call, sometimes it's just worth it, so you can go Monday morning and watch a cop standing in the hood of his car going, all right, going for it. No, put hand over, Roger that, stop that trumpet going, picking up boys. They last longer. And if you really, really want to get creative, you can run one of these through a knife sharpener, and every time you see somebody else's sign, you just cut one number off. They don't get any calls. We call this eliminating the competition. And if you really, really want to get creative, you go on one of those business card websites, you measure out your band of signs, and you can just get your phone number printed on a bumper sticker exactly the same size. Put it right over there. We already know that they're illegal, so this then puts you in a he stole my drug situation. Chris Goodson, as my retired lawyer, nowhere I'm going to say, hey Chris, I need to file a lawsuit. Somebody put a sticker on my illegally posted sign. Would I win that? No. You guys like this? You got a couple ideas? Okay. Referrals are tremendous. You do enough business, you get referrals. I mean, this is probably how you see most of my deals walk into the office. It's somebody from my almost past 19 years of business that goes, oh my God, I made all this money from knowing you, now what do I do with it? Oh no, I got divorced, this happened, what do I do with it? And you just, it's like a giant feeder system, over and over and over. Hey boss.
Yeah.
Call me out, right? The gentleman in the back, go ahead, stand up. Tall, dark, and handsome. Sorry ladies, he's married. When I met him, he was in foreclosure 3 times. They weren't all his houses. One was his mom, one was his uncle. After I bailed you out of the first one, did he take me to the next?
After you bailed me out, yeah.
And did he take me to the next one after that?
Yes.
See how that works? You do the right thing, it comes back around. And I'll give you a couple creative ideas before I hand this off to AJ. We talk about cold calling. This is actually in the parking lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ever think about wrapping a car? At all. Ever. Because they work. I have had accountants for years tell me that, Dave Steiner, cars are liabilities. My car makes like 30 to 60 G's in a year. And I would pay like 25 or something for it brand new. It's an excellent write-off. I am dying to wrap your car into your car, and buy you a car, and buy you a car, and I do too. Because they work. And if not, park it somewhere, anybody will see it. I have actually been driving this car on the parkway at about 80 miles an hour, trying to get to a fax machine or a computer at a Staples so I can get documents over to an underwriter so I can close the deal the next way. And I have been fucking pulled over by a police officer who goes, do you know why I pulled you over? And I'm like, I really just need to get to Staples by 5 o'clock, and I pulled you over because, step out of the car, sir. Walking on fucking grassy knoll, no, this guy's gonna shoot me. Sits down, he's crying. My wife filed divorce and we're gonna lose the house. Wow, if you could just give me a police escort to Staples, I will spend the rest of the day with you and buy your dinner. Police escort, it works. It's great at letting computers too. This was one of my not so big marketing ideas. Chris used to have events that were BYOB. I would sponsor an open bar. We'd sit there and label a bunch of beer bottles before the event. Have one on us. It's got the name of the company. One day, me and Linton are driving home. He's got a Trio 650. I don't drink. He doesn't drink. What do we do with a case and a half of beer? Well, it's funny you should ask. They work just like notes on doors, only better. So I finally got to the closing table, and one of them, Chris goes, "How did you get this deal?" And I told him about the beer bottle program. Told me I was an idiot, and I'm pretty lucky if I don't get a call from somebody with like a drunken 14-year-old kid. It wasn't really my intention. I mean, I was kind of thinking like, you know, think about this. You're losing your house, you're in stress, you lost your job, you come home after a hard day of not working. And you're like, honey, look at this, have one on us, and it's an import. Would you call? The more shit you do, the crazier stuff you do, the better you get a reaction, okay? This is all the basic stuff that we did. If you guys want to write it down. Door knocking, newspaper ads, postcards, signs, billboards, website, referrals, and just be creative. I guarantee if you have all this stuff up, if you can't make at least $100,000 in your first year, you are a failure and should probably go back to McDonald's. Later in 2019, when I decided to really go hard and throw my hat back in the arena because I was getting divorced yet again, I do that a lot. Look at Target, amazing. Third wife's charm. AJ and some other people suggested we start trying cold calling to people on a InvestPen list that he skips races. This is like, I don't fully understand how this works, I just know that it works. I also know that AJ used to work at a call center before he came to us, so he's really good at this with technology. So originally we started running it in our office. Kind of familiar. And I mean, this is pre-pandemic. Well, oh my God, yeah, it's Steiner, there's Maurice, who else we got there? Jim, Credit, Sanchez, a bunch of guys. But it kind of started getting too big, and people started getting shit housed. And like, I mean, all right, look, you guys want to know how big this got? Everybody say yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to point people out in the picture. There was more people, but it got so big that we actually lost our old office for public fornication because 2 members of our team were caught having sex in a public bathroom on camera. Too much too soon, right? Whatever, it's a bunch of people making a lot of money, it happens. So now we have an even bigger office in Hackensack, whatever. But I mean, again, just, oh no, that guy too. Thank God the pandemic happened because this guy was kind of where I couldn't get to my office. Straight down the other way too, there's people in the kitchen, people in the boardroom. Must have a date, I got too much. And then we got hit with the coronavirus. And nobody wanted to do shit. So AJ over here says, let's take this online with the internet. I was like, that's never gonna work. You wanna show them how it works?
Let's do it.
You guys recognize any of these people? They're just random people I found on the internet. I just wanna make sure nobody recognizes it. All right, AJ, come up here, show them what you got. It is gonna take you through the cold calling process, scripts, other shit. I can click for you. I can't even do this.
You click. Thank you. I'm gonna walk around, keep the pace up. Thank you, Chuck, for that great introduction. So for everyone, I'm AJ. We haven't met earlier this afternoon. Nice to meet all of you. So I've been working with Chuck and the rest of the team, Linton, Mike, Josh, obviously Chuck, and Jessica up front, and a few other people for about 3 years. I've come a long way. I used to work a 9-to-5 job, like Chuck alluded to. I used to work in a call center. So I used to actually manage a floor of 30 people who were calling, soliciting, if you will. It wasn't real estate, it was a financial company, but neither here nor there. What I learned was a lot of the tools and the resources and the processes and the systems that you would need to be able to do this in any business model, whether it's, transport, real estate, food industry, whatever have you, right? Being a salesperson is the most valuable skill that you can have, despite the industry. So, next slide, Chuck, if you can. So as we alluded to back in Chuck's day, we'll call it old school. We'll call it the pen and paper days, right? And I was very much a part of that. I remember going to the office and we would get handed a stack of papers and I would have a pen and I would manually go down every property, very, very, very tedious. And you would X whoever did, was the wrong number, whoever told you to go screw yourself, or, I'm not the right person. You would keep all the notes manually. And it just wasn't working for me. I knew there was a more sustainable, scalable way, and that was with technology. So, we'll call it the new school now, my generation, we figured out how to bring everything online on the internet. So one of the main resources that we use is called NJ List Pendants. Is anyone in this room currently subscribed to NJ List Pendants? Of course, all the OGs, of course. There you go, right? Of course. Okay, cool. So let me break it down to you. List Pendants, Lispendens. That is actually a Latin word. It stands for lawsuit pending. Okay? So if you're prospecting for business, a good place to look are for people who have a lawsuit pending against them. That's a good start. Right? It goes a bit deeper than that. You can actually stack different lists with different distress types, but that's kind of a little advanced in the scope of this meeting. So something I'd highly recommend that you plug into is the NJ List Pendants. That is provided by the county. So it's straight from the source. You put in exactly what county you want to work in, whether that's Bergen, Essex, Union, Passaic, Hudson, Middlesex, yada, yada, yada. If it's in New Jersey, they have the county. And they're going to give you a list of a bunch of homeowners that are currently in pre-foreclosure. Can I have a volunteer tell me what it means to be in pre-foreclosure? Anybody? My God. 3 months. If you're a homeowner and you are 3 or more months behind on your mortgage payment, you will get a notice of default. You are now in pre-foreclosure, right? So now you are on that list or that website that I just told you about that you should be plugged into after you leave here today, whether within the program or by yourself, highly recommended. So you have a pre-foreclosure list. What do you do with that information? Chuck and Mike went over a few marketing channels, whether that be cold calling. We've actually done texting campaigns before, door knocking. I know Winston was huge on door knocking in the beginning. We've wrapped cards, we've sent out mailers, we've done more or less just about all of it. But I noticed that cold calling was giving my team in our office the best results because we were going direct to the seller. It was an active marketing approach as opposed to something passive. I didn't want to sit at the office and wait for the phone to ring until I figured it out, right? But at first, I wanted to be very active, very proactive about reaching out to these people. So that's only half of the information. The other half of the information is skip tracing, which is a vocab word that maybe not everyone knows. Skip tracing is the process of attaching owner's information, whether that be their email and their phone number, to the property address. Right there, buddy. Thank you. So we have a couple vendors that we use within our program. That is Visor Real Estate Store. Visor is spelled VISIR. And then, there's a more commercial kind of company called BatchLeads.io, which you guys would probably be more familiar with. More or less, within the program, we get our leads skip traced cheaper than what it is for the industry standard. The industry standard is about 15 cents per lead, okay? So you can kind of do the math. If you pull a list of 1,000 records of NJ List Pendants, multiply that by 0.15, and that's how much you're gonna pay to get phone number data for that list, right? So now that you have that, that opens up more marketing strategies like the texting, like the cold calling. Next slide. So, a very important bit of information. How I mentioned back in the old days, we used to do everything pen and paper. It gets really hard to keep track of the pen and paper when half of them are in the office, half of them are at home, half of them are in your car, and half of them are in the garbage. And you're like, what happened to John Doe on 123 Main Street? I have no clue where that piece of paper went. So, for the new age, we have a database. There are many databases. You guys have probably heard of Podio, I believe, is the more common one. But the one that I recommend is something called REI Sift. The long and short of it is that it's a data management system, and it's gonna allow you to compile all of those pieces of paper into one central location. It's gonna allow you to tag records, which helps you stay organized. Tagging would be an example of like, where did you get the lead, or when did you get it? You know, you wanna know, is this lead 3 months old, 6 months old, or 5 years old? That helps to know. And then another benefit is stacking lists. So how I alluded to before, if you have an NJ list pendants list, say you have a divorce list like Chuck alluded to, this software allows you to merge both of the lists and see what prospects are overlapping. Those prospects that are overlapping on multiple lists, you have now done something called deep prospecting. You've now gained insight to who you should call first. We should all have the mindset of who's going to sign a contract tomorrow. Who can I meet with sometime this week to set an appointment? Like we alluded to, it's been a crazy week. We got 3 properties under contract, and there's probably a few more coming in my email. And this is just like my regular week by week. I wake up, kind of how Mike described, I don't prospect at this point anymore. I wake up and I check my systems, may that be my text, my email, or we have a Discord or an internal group chat, and the leads are loaded up into there. And then I connect with the student who brought the lead to the table, and then one of the coaches, whether that be Linton, myself, or Chuck, will go with the student out into the field, and we'll teach them how to lock it all up. We provide the paperwork, we provide the attorney, the title company, the realtor, all the team members that you may need. We have all of that within our office. Next slide, Chuck. Okay, so naturally, something that happens, something that people get really, really nervous about are rebuttals and objections. So when you reach out to someone, Susie, you say out of the blue, you say, hey Susie, my name's AJ, I'm calling about your property on 123 Main Street. I wanted to know if you'd ever consider an offer on that property. And then all of the questions under the sun come up. Who are you? What's your company? What's your offer? How'd you get my number? Screw off, etc., etc. And it's your job to understand how to navigate that conversation, because truly, they're just asking questions to gain more insight to know if you're serious or not. They want to know if you're bullshitting with them or not, right? So if you have your rebuttals and your objections prepared, and you're confident in what to say when someone throws you a rebuttal, you're in good hands. So let's try. How are we feeling in this room? Do we want to try a couple rebuttals? Are we feeling confident, or are we feeling lazy? You tell me how we're feeling. Confident? Good, that's what I like to hear. So, what's your name, brother? Josh, I like you, Josh. All right, cool. So, have you ever cold called before? All right, cool. So you're more or less familiar. So say my name is John Doe, right? And you call me and I say, hey Josh, what's your offer? You called me, I'm open to it. What's your offer? What might you say?
I'd say $300,000.
Okay, so you might throw just any number out there for a feeler.
Sure.
Not right or wrong, okay. So something that I would propose is you would just tell them at that point of the conversation, I don't have enough information to give you a proper offer. That's just the fact of it. So do you mind if I go ahead and ask you a couple additional questions to learn about your situation? And then boom, I would go on to my next question, which may be anything. What do you owe on the property? What are you asking for the property? What's the property worth? Why do you want to sell? When do you need to sell by? Any of those types of questions. You're going to want to go ahead and make sure you remain in the driver's seat of the conversation. That's also another pro tip. Make sure the seller's not asking you the question, but rather the other way around, right? Let's go for one more. How did you get my number? Who wants to answer that question? Who's feeling confident? All right. Well, how'd you get my number? How'd you get my number?
I found it online.
Online. All right. I mean, that was pretty easy. That's good though. That is the right answer. You don't know how many students fold under that question. They choke. They don't know what to say. The simple answers. I got your information online. It's public information. And then boom, you would go right into the other question. What do you got for that answer? I know you're pretty creative.
I, no bullshit, bought a number of houses by just simply going, how'd you get my number? Well, I subscribe to a New Jersey InvestPen place. This is a list of people with lawsuits pending. The majority have 3 months down on their payments. I then have a very intelligent young man in my office named AJ. He's got a great smile and ladies love him. I give that list to him. He skip traces it and gives me back phone numbers associated with that residence. I then have a system with 10 numbers that once it calls you, you're on the phone, here I am, I can tell you more about the process, but your information is out there in public for people to find just like me. At least I'm one of the good ones.
Perfect. Perfect. Bring them back to your pace, you know. And then, you know, once you master all of this, you're well on your way to setting your first appointment. Now, when you have your first appointment, how I alluded to, you're going to connect with one of the coaches. We're going to go out with you to meet that seller out at their house. With that appointment, we are going to bring our initial documents. Right now, if someone had an appointment tomorrow, do you have the contracts to bring to the house? By a raise of hands. Who has the paperwork ready to lock up a house right now in the next 5 minutes? We got one. You guys don't count. All right, so we got 2 more paperwork. The OGs in the back? Yeah. Well, of course. Okay, so something super valuable that you guys are going to need is the paperwork. Of course, the contract, the scary word, the contract. What it's commonly called is a purchase and sales agreement. Are you guys familiar with that terminology? Okay, so you've heard that before. The purpose of that document, it's going to state the 2 parties that are in a binding agreement, and more importantly, it's going to state the price that you guys agreed upon. What price is party B going to give to party A, right? Call it $400,000. And then there's a bunch of information that we collect and retain. There might have been a slide on it before, but if you guys are taking notes, you can just take notes. What that is you have perfect right there. Thank you. Oh, so OWE, that's going to pertain to, and I don't know why no one seems to ask sellers this question. I think they just get nervous or think it's like that. I don't want to. I need to know, what do you owe on your property? That's going to be a huge variable as to how we're going to structure the deal. If you're over leveraged, we need to do a short sale. If you don't owe anything at all, we might do a seller finance. So when they ask me, why do you even know that? I would tell them exactly that. But that's a very vital piece. I think, brother, you had a deal before you were telling me about. You have all of the information that they might own it free and clear, correct?
Right.
Just so you know, that's a huge variable, right? So we're going to reach back out to that seller and find that out, right? And then we're going to have a completed lead sheet, and then we'll really know which way to go. Beside that, I would say the most obvious is, what are they asking? So you just simply ask them, what are you asking for your property? You would also ask them, after repairs, or even as is, what do you think your property is worth as it sits today, right? After that, you're going to want to dig a little deeper into motivation. Are they selling because they're divorced? Are they selling because they have a tax lien? Are they selling because they want to retire or relocate? You'll hear everything under the sun. You just want to really collect and retain that information. Remember, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should be listening more than you're talking, okay? The last 2 very important bits of information is going to be your timeline. So with pre-foreclosures, there's something called a sale date. And that's the date that, or sheriff sale date, and that's the date that your property goes to sale, back to the bank. You actually have until that date to, either close on the property or have a plan of action before the sheriff comes knocking on your door telling you that you need to vacate. We want to avoid that at all costs. There's actually a couple ways, we'll get into it, why not? There's a couple ways to actually extend that sale date. Does anyone know? Maybe the OGs in the back know. Thank you, Winston. How do you, say I had a sale date on Monday, I'm losing my house. What do I do? I'm screwed, aren't I?
No, you're not.
Well, then what are my options?
Call the lawyer and do foreclosure defense.
Great, that is definitely one option. I have three options, and I don't even know if you guys knew you had 3 options to extend the sheriff's sale date. There's another one. Starts with an A.
Adjournment.
Nice. Fuck yeah. All right, it's called an adjournment, and the less fancy word for that is an extension. So you're applying for something called an adjournment or an extension. That's as simple as going down to the court and paying a fee. It's super simple. The third option is called a mutual ejectment.
Emergent motion.
Emergent motion, Jesus, get my vocab. An emergent motion is what you do after the adjournment, and that's when you stand before a judge and plead your case on why you would need even more time than the extensions that were already given to you. But, some distressed sellers actually meet every hour sometimes. I've returned properties a literal hour before the sale. It gets crazy. More or less, after you collected and retained all of that information, you now have a successful and fully completed lead sheet. And then it's your job to ask for the business. A lot of people forget to ask for the business. What does that sound like? You let them know, I'm looking at my calendar, whether you have one or not. First off, I recommend you have a calendar. The second thing is you say, I'm looking at my calendar. I see here that I have Thursday at 3 o'clock available, or I have Friday at 2 o'clock available. Which one works better for you? And by phrasing it that way, you're making the seller choose between two options as opposed to meeting with you at all or meeting with you. It's a bit of psychology, right? A lot of the beginners, they often say, I'm available next week to meet, and they leave it at that. And the problem is that's too open-ended. In the seller's mind, they're just going to push you off. They're going to kick the can down the road. They're going to be like, I'll meet with him next week, whatever. If he calls me back, he calls me back. But if I tell them, look, I keep a tight schedule. You got tomorrow at this time or Friday at this time, they're much more likely to pick a time slot, and your likelihood of meeting with them increases dramatically, right? Next slide. Cool. So this has to be, some part of my first year, back when I was working at 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is actually an 8 to 6. Because you need to leave your house an hour before you clock in, and you don't leave at 5 because when you're looked at all funny because you actually left on time, so you have to leave at 6. I believe these started at 6:30 back in the day, and I would notoriously roll in late. I would come in at 6:45, 7 o'clock every time, but it was the best that I could do. My job was my priority at the time. I very much had an employee mindset back then. So I connected with Chuck. I owe a lot to Chuck, his office, his resources, and the people he's plugged me into, because I'm not even counting how many appointments I've been on at this point, but it's been a lot. 100? Yeah, it's been a journey to say the least, right? So that's just a tribute to Chuck and everything he's done. Next slide. So this is literally, you remember Chuck said he had a program called Turning Houses? I used the paper and the ink of my 9 to 5, printed out like a 50-page packet on the clock, didn't care, fired me, don't care. And I would read it. I would read every page at my desk while multitasking, doing my day-to-day operations at my job. And if my boss at the time rolled by, then so be it. I had bigger plans for myself anyway. Next slide. So I say that to say you should have the same mindset, the same energy. If you're really going to do this, you're going to do it. You're not going to have one foot in, 1 foot out. It's not going to work, okay? So a couple months later, this picture's probably 3 years old if I had to guess. I was doing exactly what I'm preaching right now. I was cold calling an NJ list pendants list. And I actually found a property in Roselle, Meadow Street in Roselle, New Jersey. And the homeowner, it was a married couple. They had rented their property to their children, and their children hadn't paid rent. Thus, they hadn't paid the mortgage in over 2 years. Remember, pre-foreclosure is 3 months. So it's time to make decisions at this point. So they're about 14 months behind. There was probably a short share sale at that point. After we did all of our due diligence, we realized that they were over-leveraged. So from there, I passed it on to my partner, Linton, who is the short sale specialist in the office. And he's the best at discounting the mortgage amount to create equity within the deal. After you create the equity within the deal, you have all of the options open to you, may that be fix and flipping, holding it as a rental, wholesaling it or assigning it would be the proper terminology. All of that opens up to you, but first you need to collect and retain all the information that we went over before, and then in this instance, you would have to do a short sale. Question for the room, who here has someone that can do a short sale for them? By a raise of hands. About 4. Got it. All right, guys, so it sounds like you guys need to get plugged into a lot of what we're offering, whether that be our marketing channels or just the resources that we offer, right? because you need to be prepared literally tomorrow with paperwork and the people that you need to get a deal done. So if you don't have those resources, I would definitely recommend scanning that QR code in the corner or reaching out to Mike, Chuck, myself, Linton, Jess, or Josh to learn more information. Can you go to the next slide, Chuck? All right, here, this is where I start getting in my groove, I start getting momentum. This might be like the third or fourth deal of my first year at this point. I was actually, speaking of not prospecting all that much, I was at my girlfriend's grandma's house in Brick, New Jersey, straight vacation. I was just gone for the weekend, and I got a call. It was toward the nighttime, maybe 8 p.m., and it was out of the blue. And it was an individual named Tracy. Tracy's actually sitting at the table right there. And she tells me that she inherited a property. What the hell was it? It's really not even that important. She had a property that her parents neglected. She inherited it, and she had no clue what to do with it. So she met with us and sold it to us. I believe this was a short sale, if I remember correctly. Haskell, yes, good memory.
Systems.
Yes, good stuff. And yeah, this slide just kind of shows once you get in the groove of it, you get that momentum. Again, you'll turn around one day and you'll lock up three deals in 1 week. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Next slide. All right, cool. On your journey, you will do a lot of things, right? When I entered the game, I called myself a wholesaler. After that, I quickly called myself an investor. After that, I was like, wow, I need to notarize a bunch of documents. Why don't I go get a notary certificate? After that, a bunch of people wanted to learn how it is that I do what I do. So the next slide over there, I don't know if any of you guys know individual Freddie. All the power to Freddie, he's a great guy. He actually has a crazy a language barrier. He speaks very thick Spanish. And he was able to get that property under contract. So whatever kind of insecurity you think you may have, may that be a speech impediment or whatever have you, just know that you can do it as well. You barely need to speak English to do this clearly. There's a testimonial right there. So I went out into the field. I helped Freddie get his first deal. That was in Avenel, happened to be a short sale. Anyone know what a hoarder is? Yeah. Hoarder? Right, cool. So this is a hoarder house. If you're more interested, I can show you pictures on my phone after the presentation. But you open the door, and that was it. Like you're lifting your feet, stepping over shit to get through the house. It was pretty bad. Definitely couldn't see the floor. I would say about 6 to 8 dumpsters worth of garbage for a 3-bedroom single-family house. If you can kind of see how much garbage that is. It's a lot of garbage. Later in the year, at some point in my journey, I realized that I was prospecting so much, and I was finding individuals where a creative deal really wasn't their best option, but actually listing it on the market, like in a traditional fashion, was their best option. So a little later, I actually ended up, going to school, Kyle Kopat's real estate school. I was like 45 hours or something like that, and then I had to take a school exam, and then I had to take a state exam, and then at 2:31 in the freaking morning, I passed my test, and I became a licensed realtor, and that's been going really well since. I've been able to add $20,000, $50,000 to my downline per year just by helping out people traditionally, right? And then that last picture is Highland Lakes, New Jersey. That's another short sale that was brought to us by a student. Again, just by doing right by people, I turned around one day and one of my colleagues, Debbie, reached out to me stating that one of her family friends had a house to sell, and that's that house right there. So, referrals are really huge, but first you would need to do right by people for X amount of time until you get that residual feedback, right? So, next slide. Calling pre-foreclosures. I think we more or less went over that, yeah? We all comfortable with what a pre-foreclosure is and why we need to call them? Yeah, we're good. We're good on that. Oh, so, we can touch on this really quickly. NJ list pendants, I explained what that was. But just know that the scope gets a lot broader. So you have other resources like listsource.com. If you're not sourcing your own data right now, I would take note of that website. You can list, you can get like vacant properties, absentee owners, pre-foreclosures, tax liens, all sorts of different distress beside pre-foreclosures. D for D stands for driving for dollars. Who here drove in a car? Hopefully the majority of you, right? Come on now. When you're driving back to your house tonight, if you see a distressed property, I don't understand why you wouldn't do this, but you should pull over and take down the property address, 123 Main Street. This concept, this workflow is called driving for dollars. It's entirely free, minus the gas. That's really expensive right now. But after you have a list of your handwritten list, you're going to go to a website like Visor or Batchleads.io, or if you wanted to do it for free, you can go to truepeoplesearch.com and you can enter 123 Main Street and it will spit back the phone number to that homeowner. After you have that bit of information, you're going to go ahead and go through that script that I went through. What do you owe? What are you asking? What is your property worth? Why do you want to sell? And what timeline? And what's the condition? When can you meet? Tomorrow at 3 or Friday at 4? And then you're going to call someone from the team to go out into the field and lock it up for you. Keep going. So I say that to say there are many more resources than just NJ List Pendants, but that's the one that I would recommend that you start with. We're good off data management, Podio, REI Sift, staying organized, rebuttals, we're good off that. Boom, so that, after that, I'm gonna pass it back to Chuck, and we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you, you can clap.
Was that, guys, real quick, you're taking home, was that slightly helpful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, real quick, I'm truly trying to just keep it at the tip of the iceberg. This goes deep, freaking deep. But for the sake of, everyone here tonight, I don't want to, blow your head off with too much information, but this content should get you thinking of how you should process this information. Cool? Thank you.
Yeah, this stuff, it runs deep, guys. It's, this is the tip of the iceberg. Like, just in our process, we barely scratched the surface on the first two. Giving leads, the dialer, all that stuff. You guys want to make some calls? But do you know how much a system like that would cost you? Maybe we want to take a guess? If you had to buy all this shit by yourself, I'm serious.
7 Gs.
I mean, I can do the short version.
Let on.
You guys want to see the short version? And if you guys want to sit down and talk about it more afterwards, there'll be a number on the screen, the QR code, make an appointment. There's no pressure. If you want it, it's there. If it doesn't work for you, it is because you are not working. This is what we do. I'm going to spare you the whole takeaway thing. If you were to buy one of these services annually, there's your prices. This is the shit we give you access to. A little over 50 G's.
That's a lot of overhead.
Why do you think there's so many people? You do it as part of the community. Book a consult with Mike. Let him know what it is that you want. Let him know what it is you're interested in. I'm going to guarantee we could probably get it to you for under $500 a month. You want leads, you want a dialer, you want somebody to go out and buy houses with you. Paperwork. We are going to split deals with you. Give you a manual, 24 hours of audio, learn how to do it. Just do you want it or not? If you're interested, the QR code is on the screen. We'll hang around for a little while. If anybody's got any questions, now will be the time.
What's the deal? So you guys do the program, get it, but obviously you guys funnel the leads in, do the calls, etc. We get a lead that's interested. You guys come on a call with us. Where does the financing come from? If you don't have it, you. And it's just a pure split.
Yeah, we have deal splits. We obviously do this to make money.
Yeah.
Once you get confident enough, you will do one of two things. You will either become Matt Marinoff, or any one of my people in the past think, dang, somebody else could do your own thing, that's great. Still got your testimonial, and I'm happy for you. Or you'll tune inward and go, I like it here, it feels like home. And oddly, much like AJ, Linton, and everybody else, every instructor we've had over the years has been somebody who's come through the program in the ever-evolving system, fallen in love with it, and whether it's like the gentleman in the back who just walked out that was homeless when I met him and is now a millionaire, owns a church, owns a property in U.S. and Jamaica, the young lady right here who was losing her house but now a bookkeeper who's been together for 4 years. It's either a re-education, and you love it and you stay, or you take it and you run with it and rebrand it as your own, because it ain't mine anyway. But it works. It's a lot of work. If you have the confidence to do it, here's the leads, description, paperwork. Fucking go, man. I'm happy for you. I got plenty of them. I mean, if we never made money together, but you made more money for having set foot in this room tonight talking to me, you think I'd be happy for you? And if you're looking to be a part of something and lean on people too, once you start to digest the whole system, which will prepare you to wear the crown, you start to realize how heavy that crown actually is. Not everybody can carry it. Some people can. Some people get stressed. Any other questions? All right. Everybody stand up for a second. You too. Come on out here, Adrian, Mike. Everybody take your right hand, put it up in the air, hold it up really fucking high for me. Come on. Now take your left hand and put it up real high. Now put it together 3 times. I told you you would get a standing ovation. I hope you're not. Really proud of you guys.
Did you guys learn something tonight? Say yes. Did you network tonight and meet some interesting people that you're going to do business with? Say yes, and if not, it's your own fault. We got the rest of the night to network and hang out. We've got the room to 9:30. I will be at the bar until at least 10:30, depending on how many drinks I have, maybe longer. Next month, I promise you, no education whatsoever. We will be meeting at my new bar lounge in Elizabeth. So lots of alcohol, lots of networking, lots of fun, but I promise you not a damn bit of education. So that's for next month. August is notoriously a low turnout meeting, but I figure if I give you some food and the opportunity to drink some booze and hang out that you would like to do that. Does that sound like fun? Say yes? All right, it's called Destino Bar and Lounge. Keep an eye out for your emails. Other than that, if you do want the education thing, we'll be back in September. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you next month. Enjoy the room, keep networking, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Baseball.